So hopefully this makes sense. All these functions can be obviously looked up on the PHP documentation. Go ahead and Google for them if you don't quite understand or you want to learn a bit more about them. So now that is essentially our function complete. The only thing we need to do now is actually call the function itself. Now if we head over to our browser, you can see that we don't actually have anything up at the moment. If we refresh, nothing really happens. Let's go back over to our text editor and see if anything's happened. You can see that I'm typing a star here to list all types of files, and we've still only got index.php. That's because we haven't called this function yet. The code's there, but we need to actually activate this by calling the function. So I'm simply going to say inc_count. Okay, so what this is going to do is call all of this code, and it's actually going to do something. So assuming that the counter.txt file does not exist, the current value is going to be set to 0. Then what's going to happen is we're going to insert the current value plus 1, which is 1, into file name. So we're automatically creating this file called counter.txt. We don't need to create it beforehand. This file underscore put contents function does it for us. So let's go ahead back to our browser and refresh the page. Okay, again we don't get any output because we haven't specified that we want any output. However, let's go back and see what files we now have. Okay, you can see now that this counter.txt file has appeared. Let's go ahead and open that. You can see that the value is 0 at the moment. I'm not sure quite why. Let's go ahead and refresh our page again to see what happens. That's changed. Okay, we've still got 0 in there. Right, okay, so yeah, okay. So what we need to do is we need to add the plus before this current value variable. And if we go ahead and save that and go over to our browser, let's click refresh, come back to our text editor, you can see that the file counter.txt has been changed. Let's have a look, and that now equals 1. Okay, so now let's go ahead and refresh our browser a few more times. Let's say 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 add 1. We already had 1 inside of our text file. It should now equal 4. Let's reload that. And you can see that the value has changed to 4. So you can see that with a very short program we're actually able to create a file dynamically based on file exists, the file exists function checking that this file does actually exist or not, and then we're just grabbing the content and adding a value. Otherwise we're starting at 1. We're starting at 0 here, but then we're adding 1 to this, so it'll equal 1 initially. What we can actually do is eliminate the need for this if statement and condense our program down even shorter, believe it or not. Let's go ahead and get rid of this if statement, and we're going to do a single line here, which is, like I said before, going to eliminate the need for this if statement. And the way we're going to do this is dynamically update this current value variable and do this all on one line. So let's go ahead and type in current value. And this is going to equal to, in brackets, we're going to say file exists, and again we're specifying our file name, and then we're using a colon here to say what we want to do if our file does exist, and that is file get contents file name. Otherwise, using a question mark, we want to say 0. Okay, so pretty simple. We're saying the current value, if the file exists, is equal to file get contents username, file name, sorry, like we did before. Otherwise, this current value is just equal to 0. So in one line, we've eliminated the need for this lengthy if statement. Well, not lengthy, but more length than we actually do require. So let's go ahead and test this and see if what that does. Obviously, it's going to produce the same result. At the moment we have our counter.txt on 4, so let's go ahead and see what happens. So let's refresh twice. Oh, pass error. Okay, so once again I've made a slight mistake. We need these round the other way. Quite an easy mistake to make, I think. So again, current value, if this is true, then we grab the contents and assign it to this current value variable. Otherwise, we assign the value 0 to this current value variable. Let's go back to our browser with this error, press refresh. Okay, so 1, 2. I've refreshed the page twice. Our counter.txt file has changed. Let's go over to it, and you can see that the value is now equal to 6. So this kind of a thing can be used in any application really. Let's say you were checking how many times a specific page, for example a blog entry, has been viewed, or how many times a file has been viewed, if this is your application. So with a very simple function you can include this function in another file, include it onto your page, and then just use ink count to call it.